What happened to Cain after he killed his brother Abel? Where did he go, and who was his mysterious wife? These are questions that have intrigued scholars, theologians, and believers for centuries. Cain's story is one of tragedy, divine justice, and unexpected mercy. Today we'll uncover the mysteries surrounding his life after the murder, the meaning of the mark God placed on him, and the identity of his enigmatic wife. This exploration will not only shed light on one of the most debated stories in the Bible, but also provide profound lessons for our own lives. The story of Cain and Abel begins in Genesis 4. Cain, the firstborn of Adam and Eve, was a farmer, while his younger brother Abel was a shepherd. Each brought an offering to God. Cain offered fruits of the soil, while Abel offered the firstborn of his flock. God looked with favor on Abel's offering but rejected Cain's. This rejection struck deep into Cain's heart, igniting feelings of anger, jealousy, and resentment. One day in the field, Cain allowed these emotions to overtake him, and he committed the unthinkable. He murdered his brother. This act, the first recorded murder in human history, marked a tragic turning point. After the murder, God confronted Cain with a question that continues to resonate through history. Where is your brother Abel? Cain's response, "Am I my brother's keeper?" was not only an attempt to avoid responsibility, but also a stark indication of his hardened heart. God then pronounced a curse on Cain, condemning him to a life of wandering and hardship. The ground, which once yielded crops for him, would no longer provide sustenance. This curse was both a punishment and a reminder of the consequences of his actions. However, God's judgment was not devoid of mercy. When Cain expressed fear that others might kill him in revenge, God placed a mark on him as a sign of protection, declaring that anyone who harmed Cain would suffer sevenfold vengeance. The exact nature of this mark has been a topic of debate for centuries. Was it a physical symbol visible to all who encountered him, or was it something spiritual, an invisible yet powerful declaration of God's will? Some have speculated it could have been a scar, a glowing mark, or even a unique characteristic that set Cain apart. Others believe it was not physical at all, but rather a divine proclamation ensuring his safety. After receiving the mark, Cain left the presence of God and journeyed to the land of Nod, east of Eden. The Bible tells us that he built a city there and began a new life. But this raises profound questions. Who lived in the land of Nod? Did Cain encounter other people there? Or was this simply a symbolic way of describing his separation from God and his family? One theory is that Nod was inhabited by other descendants of Adam and Eve, whose births were not explicitly detailed in the Genesis account. Another possibility is that God had created additional humans outside of the Eden narrative, though this idea is not widely supported by traditional interpretations. One of the most intriguing aspects of Cain's story is the identity of his wife. Genesis 4:17 tells us that Cain had a wife and children, but it does not specify where his wife came from. The most common explanation is that Cain's wife was one of his sisters, a daughter of Adam and Eve. In the early generations of humanity, such unions would have been necessary for the population to grow. However, some have suggested alternative theories, including the possibility that God created other people independently of Adam and Eve. These interpretations have sparked debates not only about Cain's story, but also about the origins of humanity and the broader context of the Bible. Beyond these mysteries, the story of Cain holds powerful spiritual lessons. It is a cautionary tale about the dangers of unchecked anger, jealousy, and resentment. Cain's downfall began when he allowed his emotions to control him rather than seeking to understand and address the root of his feelings. The rejection of his offering was not an arbitrary act by God, but rather a reflection of Cain's heart. Abel gave his best to God, while Cain's offering was likely given reluctantly or without genuine devotion. This difference highlights the importance of offering our best to God and approaching him with sincerity and humility. The story also underscores the profound mercy of God. Despite Cain's grievous sin, God protected him, marking him as a recipient of divine grace even in the midst of judgment. This act of mercy serves as a reminder that no matter how far we fall, God's love and grace remain available to us. Cain's mark, often seen as a symbol of punishment, can also be viewed as a symbol of redemption, a sign that God does not abandon us even when we stray from his path. As we reflect on the life of Cain, we see a man who lived in the shadow of his own choices, far from the presence of God, but still under his protection. Cain's story challenges us to examine our own hearts and actions. Are we harboring jealousy, resentment, or anger that could lead us down a destructive path? Are we giving God our best, or are we holding back out of reluctance or fear? These questions are not just about Cain, but about all of us and our relationship with God. In conclusion, the mysteries surrounding Cain, the mark, the land of Nod, and his wife, invite us to delve deeper into the Bible and reflect on its timeless lessons. Cain's story is not just a tale of punishment, but also a story of God's enduring mercy and the consequences of human choices. As we consider these themes, let us strive to learn from Cain's mistakes and seek a closer, more genuine relationship with our Creator. If you found this exploration insightful, don't forget to like this video, share it with others, and subscribe to our channel for more biblical mysteries and thought-provoking content. Remember, God's mercy is greater than our mistakes, and his love invites us all to walk in his light.